Good morning. Yes, we're outside. I think the camera is straight. I really can't tell. Yeah, it's a little noisy due to cars out there on the road passing by. But we have to be outside today for a very important reason. My little friend here is going to be my helper on today's episode. Yes, the Saucer Man by Distortions Unlimited. The recent reboot of the classic 82 head, now available, well, it was available with a full body and hands. However, the hands, as you can see, are hollow. They're not foam filled, and this is not going to last very long, guys, especially if the conditions in your mask room or the place it's being stored in is not ideal conditions. You know, if you live in Florida or places like out west where it's real dry, you know, it's gonna deteriorate so fast. There's no kind of filling in here whatsoever. So I'm going to attempt to fill the hands and take a good look at his neck, because the neck is a bit crimped, you know, and I think it can be repaired where he's, you know, more looking upright. So yes, we're outside because we're going to foam fill some stuff. The only material I have is Foam It number 3. It's a little dense, you know, but it's going to really preserve this for a long time. Some people will argue that foam filling is bad for your masks. I don't know whoever came up with the idea that foam filling is bad for a mask, because the 72 Vern Langdon Zombie would not be sitting in my collection right now if it wasn't for foam filling it back in 1983. The mask would just simply be gone, and that's your proof. So if someone tells you foam filling is bad for masks, then the number one person in the hobby that I know, the person that taught me so much, would not be foam filling masks for his friends for the past 4 decades, you know. So basically, I had a foam fill video up for a while. I took it down because I foolishly filmed it in my kitchen with no mask. I wasn't outside. It is very toxic. Do not do this stuff in your house. Technically, I should be wearing a mask out here when I do this. Ah! Yeah, this cannot stay like this. So my first step is to really take a look at this thing and figure out how it's put on the mannequin and to what extent will I foam fill it, because it feels like the wrist is on the mannequin. It's firm here, but the hand flops right around here by the knuckles. Well, actually the back of the hand, sorry. So you gotta really think about this. I was worried that this was gonna be difficult to get off of this mannequin, but it looks like underneath they put a little spot of glue on the wrist to hold the glove on, which is easily peeling away from the latex rubber. You know, carefully I'm separating that. Ah, shit. Hang on, I need a stool. There we go, just like we're back in the old mask room, right? Okay, yeah, it looks like they tacked on glue around the wrist of the glove to the mannequin so it would never slip off, but we want it to slip off. Hopefully they just glued the edge of the wrist with not too much glue. I'm carefully peeling it up. This rubber is so brand new that it's cooperating nicely. You know, I'm keeping my thumbs very close to the glue spot. I can see the glue stretching like bubble gum. If you really wanted to, you can get in there with an X-Acto knife and kind of separate it if it's giving you trouble with your Saucer Man. but it's peeling off. It's peeling off. This is crazy. I see how they put it together. We're gonna have to remember to keep these on here before we reattach it to the body, right? I should have separated this months ago when it first arrived, but I don't think it matters. Man, they put a lot of glue in there. This sleeve makes it a little more difficult to work with, but God damn it. Yeah, I really wish they foam filled this prior to mounting them. It would have been one little extra step, or at least shove foam in the fingers, you know? Those of you that don't want to go through this crazy process, go to Michael's craft store or Hobby Lobby and go buy a big square seat cushion foam. They sell this pre-cut foam to stuff in seat cushions at Hobby Lobby and Michael's, and just slice off thin strips of that and you could shove it in these fingers. You know, that would definitely help preserve this because you're filling it technically with foam, well, technically with foam, and the hands won't be so heavy. Like this foam might make these hands a little heavy. God damn. I'm peeling. I'm not worried about the rubber body. I'm more worried about the glove. Like, I don't want to tear the glove. I don't care if I tear the rubber body underneath. Man, they put a shitload on here. Which is, I mean, they didn't want them coming apart on you. But what we're doing today is to make sure your little guy can last longer, you know? Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is a great idea. It's coming, it's coming. Yay, no! I'm just curious. Let's just say you wanted to go as him for Halloween. Hurrah! It does fit nicely. I got small hands and small wrists, but very cool. So yeah, they put glue. So those of you that are going to attempt this, they put glue around the whole arm, basically. So this is very tricky because you want the mixture that we're going to mix together to go down in all 5 of these fingers. The thumb is easy because you can pour it so it trickles down into the thumb. Looking at the, you got to study things a little bit. Say, what is the best way to tackle this? So 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. If I squeeze it like this, if I squeeze it a little bit, it's like a big oval hole, right? I'm squeezing it like this, making that hole smaller, all right, for liquid to travel through, and then it's not just going sideways everywhere. I want it to go down, down, down into each of the 4 fingers. You're only getting like one shot at this. So when I get my little cups mixed up, I'm gonna aim 1, 2, 3, 4 as I pour, okay? Once you do this and are hands-on with it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I can see the 4 finger holes. Obviously, I'm looking down in a glove. The thumb hole starts up here. So if I squeeze his hand, it makes the skinny oval become round, like I was saying. I think if I do that, I'll have better aim at dropping that liquid down into the fingers. I want to make sure I get it down to the fingertips, okay? And there's little things you can do after the fact, just in case you screw this up and one of the fingers is empty and the rest are full and the hand's solid. You're like, oh shit, none got in there. There's a little trick I can teach you to still fill that, okay? So don't beat yourself up too much if that happens, because it can definitely happen. So I'm going to aim my 2-part mixture. Once I mix it, I only have like 30 or it tells you on here. It takes like 20 minutes to dry, well, to be handled, I should say. Pot life. Pot life. The old pot life. Pot life is 1 minute. That means in the pot, in your little cups, you have 1 minute before you better start pouring that shit. Otherwise, you're gonna have a nice little expansion going on in your hands, and it's a mess. You want to be very careful not to get it on the outside of this glove. So what I may do, I may take a little blue painter's tape and do a little perimeter on here just to prevent any spillage, you know, make like a little edge. You gotta pay attention to the length of his arms, you know. You don't want the foam coming all the way to the top of that glove, because then it's gonna be a pain in the ass trying to take it all out. Do you know what I mean? Like, to get it to fit back on here without having his arms super long like a weirdo. He's a little tiny guy, obviously. You want to be careful to put only so much liquid down in there, because that stuff's gonna come up. And I at least want to get these gloves on this much after they're filled. I wouldn't mind if it comes beyond the original point here, because I want more rigidity in that wrist. How am I trying to say this? So it's not just heavy foam in the hand and then this is empty and this heavy hand's gonna go like that. You don't want that. I want to foam into his wrist a little bit more, okay? So I'm gonna try to at least cut the foam off somewhere around here. I don't think it's a huge deal if his hands are another 2 inches longer, his arms. One thing we got to pay attention to though is how much material is on his shirt, because if you put too much foam and his hands are too far off, you may not have enough shirt here. But it looks like there's plenty. All right, there's plenty of shirt, plenty of that. So we're gonna roll that back up, put this right back on for later so we don't forget, and get into foaming this sucker. And this is not something, I've never done this. I've never foamed gloves. I've never foamed hands. My buddy is an expert at it. He has a very controllable way of doing it. These are rubber gloves, by the way. He uses a gun, and I'm using little Dixie cups. The best advice I can give you, if you're going to attempt to do this on this stuff, or even a mask, I do it in very tiny increments, because the travel it has when it starts expanding. If you mixed up a half a cup and just went, that it's gonna come all the way up and maybe even come out of the glove. So we're gonna use those little Dixie cups. Too much foam and you're gonna be sorry, all right? And you're gonna have to, you know, carefully dig it out just to get it back on there. You can dig the foam out. It's not gonna be fun. We wanna be able to put this glove on at least this much back on the mannequin. And remember, I was saying I want foam to be in the wrist so the foam will meet his stub and give it strength. And it's not like an empty wrist where the heavy foam filled hand is gonna just droop down, you know? And before we put this back on him, I may put a support rod in here, okay? It could be a wooden dowel rod. Shut up! It could be a wooden dowel rod, sharpened on each end, like pencil points, stuck in there, sticking out, or you could really stick it on there and it's got a little bit of, you know, strength to it. I'm just doing this as I go. Do you understand? I've never done this before. So, next step. Next step will be to get our little prep station ready here. I like to have a very workable surface that you're not going to screw up, like a kitchen table or anything nice. Here I got a cheap tablecloth, but I love it because it has pumpkins on it. And I've got cardboard. And let me get my Dixie cups. My Dixie cups. Dixie cups were such a thing in the 80s. They were like in every bathroom. You'd go visit people's bathrooms at their houses, and they would have Dixie cup dispensers next to the mirror. Like, anyway, what I like to do, even though I have a nice cardboard surface, I like to work over a paper plate, okay? Because you're gonna make a mess. You're gonna wanna take after you stir your mixture, this becomes so sticky and messy. If you put it right on your table, that's your work surface. And then you're gonna be working on stuff and you can get it on your mask, you know? So I always have a paper plate where when I stir that mixture up, I put it on the paper plate, I mix on the paper plate. Then when I'm done, I can get rid of it and put a new plate down and try to keep my work surface clean, because I don't want to lay this on. This shit is sticky. You don't want it on your fingers. It's just, ugh. Always keep a wet towel handy, like a damp rag. This is damp. I'm gonna probably wear gloves as I do this, but it's a sticky mess. So take my advice. I've got little tiny clips here, okay? So when those fingers are filled, I'm gonna clip under his wrist. I'm gonna try to clip to this cardboard hanging below and clip it to the edge of the cardboard. Not, you know, this is all hidden by stuff in case it makes a little imprint, which I highly doubt it will, but this will hold it while it dries, okay? And I've got bigger ones in case they're not strong enough, you know? All right, let's go get the blue tape real quick to make a little bit of a barrier, a little bit of a wall there. We're gonna have 2 cups for our A and B mixture. All right, again, my best advice to you if you're doing something like this, because this is not a mask, this is not a big empty cavity. These are thin fingers. This stuff expands. It's not like great stuff. Don't ever use great stuff to fill a mask. You'll come back in the morning and have a beach ball on your kitchen counter, which once was a Frankenstein monster or something. So just use specialty stuff like this made for filling props and masks or whatever. You'll find it out there on the internet. Foam it. There's plenty of things out there people will tell you that's better than this or that. Everyone's got their own, you know, opinions on stuff. This is just what I'm using right now. This is all I've got. This is what I'm going to use. All right, saucer man. So basically, This is fairly new. It's not been sitting very long. So this says mix ratio 1A to 1B by volume, or 1A 87B by weight. Mix A and B thoroughly and pour. Pot life, yeah, pot life is 1 minute. It can be handled in 20 minutes and cures in 2 hours. Foam expands 18 times its original volume. 18 times what I'm going to put in this little cup. And I'm not filling these cups to the top. No, sir. I'm explaining once again why. Shake, stir or shake part A and part B thoroughly before dispensing. I did this earlier before the video, but we'll give them a little more shakiness here. So yeah, I don't have measuring cups. A lot of guys that are professionals will actually measure the increments. I will eyeball the hell out of it, like I've always done. As I foam filled stuff, I eyeball it 1-to-1. Some of these are not 1-to-1. Some are 1 to 3/4, etc. So you really got to read that label. They're not all the same. Okay. Again, the advice I'm going to give you is, yes, some guys can foam fill a mask in one shot. They know what they're doing. They've foamed a million of them. They know their product so well that they know what they're doing. If you've never done this, do very small increments until you learn the expansion of that foam. Like, you think you know what it's going to do, but you have no idea. You can always add more. You can't take away. Once that stuff's traveling up your hand and you're going, oh shit, there ain't no stopping it, okay? You could probably try to put it upside down if it's coming out too much and you put way too much in there and it's traveling out too fast. Why is it so busy? It's Sunday. What are you people doing? Go home. You probably could turn it upside down if you have excess coming out. It's going to go all over your nice hand, okay? Do something to prevent it from getting on that paint. You don't want this shit on your paint job. No. So once again, yeah, I'm doing tiny increments, which is going to take several little cups and several mixings. But hey, that is where you get the control here, okay? That is where you're going to, you know, haste makes waste, just like Grandma said. So I'm going to carefully try to get it into 1, 2, 3, 4 thumb, okay? I may have 2 sets of cups on hand, so I can easily stir the next one if I want more foam ready. I don't have to sit there and pouring it. You know, I want to keep going with this, but I'm not going to push it too far. I'm just saying, if there's not enough foam and I didn't get enough in the other finger before this stuff travels up and covers that hole, I may want to have a little ready so I can at least pour it in all 5 fingers. And you can easily tilt this, and you can pour it on here so it runs down into that cavity. You can watch it go, you know, yep, I'm filling it, and I'm telling you, a little bit, okay? And just see how it does and leave it. Do not try to do this in one shot, especially if you're a beginner. It's nerve-wracking. Trust me. But like I said, if you don't do it right on the first try, there's little tricks on getting that finger solid later where you can still have it rigid and not worry about it collapsing in time. Oh, these are brand new. So once again, I urge you to wear a mask. I'm outside. Where the hell's my mask? I think my mask is in the car behind the camera. you're not gonna be able to hear shit that I'm saying. So I'm gonna try to use sign language here to assist you. Basically, the cups I'm gonna do, I'm gonna only do little increments like that. A and B, a little and a little in each one. Once you mix it together, that's when you have less than a minute. You better start working on it, because it's gonna start expanding. Alright, once I mix them together, that's when you better get your shit going, because you have less than a minute for it to start expanding. Mix it really good. Get all of it out of the cup. You'll see me scraping into the other cup and then mixing it. Then I'm going to slowly try to aim for all 4 fingers and then the thumb. A little bit. Here we go. Oh God. Fuck. It's physically impossible for me to see what's going on down in there, you know, so I'm gonna mix up a little more now. You know, a little tiny bit went down in each one. And like I said, I like working in small increments, because too much I would be freaking out in a few minutes because it would be traveling up the whole hand. Let me get a little more ready here. Still pretty good. I can see foam up to here and here, okay? I can see foam. I can see foam up to here. The thumb is foam up to here. One thing I want to point out is these hands are very flat, okay, when they're limp. I'm squeezing, okay, see how skinny it is at the hand? It's too skinny here. I'm squeezing it a little bit to give it a little girth. Yes, a little girth. See what I mean? Like that hand collapses. As soon as I let go of it, the hand collapses. Hold it in place until that foam can start working, okay? That way you get nice shape to that hand and it's not a skinny pancake. When I get that one off later, I'll show you how it pancakes. You control the shape of this hand as the foam cures, okay? Understand that. Right now there's foam here and across here. So we're doing pretty good. It's gonna keep expanding though. Whether I got it all the way down the tips, that remains to be seen. I mean, I physically held it upright, I poured it and watched it go into all 4 fingers, and then I trickled it down into that thumb. So let's hope for the best. See that? So that is this damn camera. It's foaming like up to here now. We may not need another batch mixed up because it's probably going to keep going at least up to here. Okay. Yep, it's right here now. Little, I filled those cups up, each A and B, that much. Second batch A and B. Third batch A and maybe almost a 1/4 inch, if that. That's all in a Dixie cup. That's filling this whole hand, okay? I'm keeping tension this way to keep the hand, to keep that hand fat, okay? Once you let go of, if I let go of this, that hand's gonna go because it's just a limp freaking, you know. Right now I'm giving it nice shape like an alien hand should be. Nice thickness here, and it's not like ugh. See that? I was saying, keep in mind there's material sitting there on the table that you're going to be smelling, and you're not supposed to be. We're outside, great ventilation. I'm holding this far away from me, and I'm just going to keep it in my hand until it cures. You know, which is a good 10 or 15 minutes. It should have enough strength where I can let go and it's not going to collapse. Remember, I want to be able to put it back on his stump at least this much, you know. We may have to take a tool and flatten the inside of it because it could be domed, like the foam could be like a domed effect on top. You can easily scrape it out with sharp tools or a screwdriver, you know, something, and get it flat enough to where it'll meet this stub, you know, and we'll put a nice little pin in here for support. Okay, like, why not? You probably don't have to, but why not? This is going to act like the filler for the wrist, so you probably don't have to worry about the wrist you know, collapsing, because obviously it's tight around here. Man, so far it's like right here. It's like right here, which is pretty awesome. Sometimes you can feel that it'll feel warm, you know. It's kind of cold out, it's cool, it's fall. The colors are gorgeous. I wait all year for this and it's almost gonna be over, you know. That sucks. Watch it slip by and then I'll, boom, November, the weather can just go bingo, it's turning to shit, you know. Sleet, snow, cold, cold. I'm also trying to go back out to Frank's before the snow. Oh my God. Man, this might work out perfect. It's like right here. And it's gonna keep going a little more. When this thing's cured, we'll look at that hand versus this hand once I get it back on here. I'm not gonna fill that one until this is mounted back on the dummy. Sorry. Once this one's cured, Jesus! And then we'll compare the newly foamed one to the factory one, you know, from Distortions. And you'll see why I wanted to do this, you know, why I'm hoping it's going to be a huge difference and look amazing, and his hand's going to be full and not this floppy, you know. It looks like a rubber glove your mom would wash dishes with back in the 80s, you know. I'm not, listen, please keep in mind I'm not knocking Distortions Unlimited one bit. This is a mass-produced piece. I am a crazy collector. I'm all about preservation. This thing's made beautifully, but not made to last. You know, portions of it. These hands would not last if you did not take the time to do stuff like this, you know. And I get it, they're just selling these. It's not some high-end collector sideshow type, you know, bust. It's a rubber alien, you know. They're in the business of making props for Halloween and masks, and it is what it is. I want it to last longer. This is like perfect. It's right here, okay? So now I'm gonna clamp it and let it just do its thing. I'm now gonna let go. I'm squeezing it, right? I'm gonna let it go. And you can see that nice shape the hand took. See that? I can hold it like this too right now, but I mean that's how it should look. See the nice thickness there? We're gonna clamp it to our cardboard and let it cure now. In the meantime, I want to take a look at this guy. Come here, buddy. Sit on Daddy's lap. See what I mean? How skinny this is? It's like, it is that thick because it's just not filled with anything. I'm surprised they didn't put some kind of foam in there like I was saying, but you know. One thing I'm concerned with is his neck. Obviously you can see it's a mask. It has some type of foam in it, but it collapsed. I don't know if it collapsed from shipping. I don't know if it collapsed because it wasn't dry yet and they just stuck it up right, you know, but it's kind of weird how it has this big crease here. And I would like to see how this head comes off and try to fix that, because it drives me nuts. This is very flexible. See that? There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Get off of me. Oh, that's weird. Get off of me, you little weirdo. I'm just seeing if this thing's glued on at all. I think it's just pushed over the top of the rubber head. Oh yeah, it's coming off. It's coming off. So it's not permanent, guys. It's not permanent. Okay. All right. Hello there. I mean, it's really hollow inside. my whole arm is inside of his head. There's a tube of hollowness. They filled most of the mask except for that. Slide it over that. Got it? But see that? How do I correct that? That's what I'm asking myself. Because that drives me crazy that his head is, you know. In my mind, I want to fill the whole top of this head and neck and pull this and pull it like that while it's drying, you know. It is possible. It is possible to maybe not push it all the way down where this is pushing up on his shoulders, and try to warm this up a little bit with a heat gun and just try to fix that. Because when you see these masks, when they had one at the show, it looked beautiful. It was on a table and it wasn't pushed down on a body, and that wasn't happening, you know. So my question to myself is, can that be done without foam fill, you know? Can it be done where I put it back on, work it with a heat gun, put more stuffing up here though, about this much, so the head's not pushing down these shoulders that heavy. It's very heavy to be resting on this lip, you know what I'm saying? Can I stuff it with the right amount of foam up here to carry it nicely here and not have the weight creasing it, you know? I think that would be my first choice before, you know, filling this entire head with foam. I just don't know if that's the answer. Yeah, you could do that and hold this perfectly and let that foam come all the way up here, then chop this off, put a spike in there and push the head on it. You could do that. Is it necessary though? Maybe not. I'm gonna show you guys something really quick here. Let's take the camera. See when I pull this away, that little cavity there? That's that crease, okay? I wonder if I could pull that away, put some foam fill in there so it gets rigid, and hold it out. I'm not saying fill this whole thing, but just put a little bit in there to strengthen that, and then do the trick where I was talking about putting like 3 inches of material on there. I have to go make my daughter some tacos, so that means I can let this hand fully cure, and by the time I'm out here we should be able to fit it back onto the body. Don't move. All right, we're gonna take this off. Look at that. I mean, I couldn't be more lucky if I tried. That foam goes right to here, right where I wanted it to, which is insane. That's nuts. And look how nice, look at the thickness of that hand. Like that is how it's supposed to be. Look at, see that? See what I'm saying? It's just, ugh. Now here's where we discover if we did this right or if we messed it up. I'm gonna just gently, that's nice and firm. Nice and firm. Nice and firm. Nice and firm. Holy cow, we did it, guys. That worked out perfect. Even behind the knuckle area, behind the eye, but I don't want to push on that clear coat too much. Man, that's perfect. A perfect foam fill on that hand. And then, like I said, during the foaming process, take note of the shape, because if you just filled it and held it like this, that hand is going to skinny up again. I squeezed it from the sides like this, squeezed it this way, not this way because it was skinny that way. squeeze it from the sides and it puffed it out nicely. And that is a beautiful shape now. Sometimes that painter's tape can take the paint off of a mask. You gotta be very careful. You don't want to use like duct tape or Gorilla Tape. On the inside of the mask, for sure, use that stuff if you're trying to strengthen it or plug up holes. But exterior, be careful. The foam goes up to pretty much where my thumb is, okay? Which is really, I mean, that's right where I was hoping to get it, near that wrist. And what I was saying earlier is I want to put a pin in here. It could be a dowel rod, something pointy on both ends though, because the hand is heavy now, okay? The wrist is still, you know, there's some residue on the side that's cracking, that dripped up in the wrist. No big deal, but it's gonna be floppy from the weight of that hand. So putting a pin in here that will go, the pin will go up into the hand and down into here, will give it strength and hold it strong and not let it flop and droop. You're gonna push it down over that pin into the foam once you get it over here again, and you're not gonna have any of this happening because it's gonna be strong then, okay? We may try to clean out the residue. Anything on the sidewall, I'm going to clean that out with my fingers. Like there's foam in here that I want to bust out because I want it to fit nicely around here, around his stub. And I may test fit it, you know, I may try to lube this up somehow. I don't want something that's going to wreck the latex though, but I want to be able to, I guess I can test fit it without any lubing. I don't want to glue it just yet, but I want to see how the foam butts up against here. Test fit it. I'm going to pull the collar down, pull the shirt down, and make sure everything looks good. You don't just want to stick it on and glue it in place without, you know, looking at everything. Always test fit it. What I want to show you now, I got the hand on there. I'm going to mess with the shirt again, putting the shirt under the glove. Right now the shirt's over the glove. I want to see what fits best and will work best. But right now I want to show you the difference, okay? The sun might be too bright. There we go. The nice foam filled hand. Look at that, how the fingers are all just extended out perfectly. See that? Nice and firm, as to where this other hand, let's see if I can just put this here. This other hand, I mean, it's just, you know, look how look how skinny it is. You see, this is what I was getting at. It's like a hollow and it's collapsing. It's just a rubber glove, basically. See, that was the only thing I was disappointed in with this piece, you know, the neck, and then the fact that these weren't stuffed somewhat. But obviously, take a look at that. Major difference in the look of those two hands, just by staring right down at them. See that? Once I do that hand, get the neck fixed on this thing, once I get that back on, it's going to look 10 times better, in my opinion. You know, it's just going to make it a beautiful version of what I envision this thing looking like, you know. So this hand, it's like, it's almost bent at the wrist there. See that? This, I don't know if it's just because of the way it's glued onto that stub, but I want to get it where the hand comes straight off the arm, like it should. You know, it's not, your hand's not like that. But what do you guys think? Do you agree that that is a big improvement? I think it is. Let's get that other hand off and work at fixing this sucker up. I'm really pleased with the way that hand came out, and we were lucky, you know. I mean, that for being a first time doing this on a hand, damn, it came out great as far as the amount of foam fill getting up to the wrist, because it could have been a nightmare. And like I keep saying time and time again, we could thank small increments for that. You know, you saw, okay, the first mixture was up to here, 2 cups. Second mixture, A and B, were each this tall, A and B. So I'm only mixing this much, pouring it down the fingers. The final mix was a little bit higher than that in each cup, maybe 1/4 of an inch or less, A and B each, which brings it up higher. The key is looking down in that glove and making sure it pours into all 4 fingers first, and then you can get it into the thumb cavity. I flip the glove over and it's easier to do the separating, see? Make sure you're pushing the body with one and pulling the glove with the other. Some of it's tough, some of it's real tough, but a lot of it's coming off real easy. So, just so you guys know that own these, there's glue along this whole thing. Strings of it, you know? And if you're careful, you can separate them. Once again, I'm going to try to foam up to the wrist, so it's foam against flat areas touching. And that other hand wasn't super heavy. You know, it's a that mixture. I don't want this guy falling off the table while I'm doing this. If you use Flex Foam 4 or Foam at 4, that's really dense. I've done masks and they're super heavy after that, so I wanted to use at least a 3 this time. If you go on their website, they'll show you like different densities and tell you what's softer or squishier than the next, and you can use all kinds of different stuff to do this. Some of it comes out like a Nerf football, like real squishy, and you could foam a mask in a mold and then pull it all out by squeezing it, and it's still going to take its shape. It's about right here, which is about a ½ inch taller than I'd like it to be. It may still travel a while, so what we're going to do is just clamp it down and come back and check on it in about 20 minutes. So like I was saying before, I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go along. Oh my God. My phone never stops. So I was going to tape material on here, but I figured I could just stuff the top of his head and it's going to do the same thing. I have a ton of extra spider webs, you know, that you stretch across your yard. I've got a case of this stuff. I'm going to use it as the stuffing I need to take up the space on the top of the head. So I think it will work perfect. And another reason I'm not going to ever use it is because I don't like green spider webs. White or nothing, even though these supposedly glow in the dark. But I think that that could be just enough stuffed up in there to help it stay up where it needs to. It should be just enough to help it sit up there better. it is helping for sure. Like absolutely, that is helping it sit up. His head was like this, you know, down. It's helping it being more upright, but I think we need to strengthen that little area that I showed you, a little crease, possibly with some foam, the base of that neck. There's not a ton of options here the way this thing's built. It slides over that skinny head without chopping that head completely off and putting a pin on there and foam filling this all the way to the top, like filling this. That's the way I would love to do this creature, is fill this solid, fill it up to here, you know, and then put some kind of spike sticking off where this could push down over that body. And this neck would be nice and thick and nice and strong. There's a pinhole right there, guys, right here. There's actually like 3 little pinholes. Not that we're foam filling that part, but that's the stuff I tell you to look for when you are filling something completely. They foam the inside of this thing, but it's separated. See that? It collapsed and separated from the foam. We're gonna try to fill that up in there and get it solid. All right, so that's gonna be our goal here. Bear with me. I poured it in there. I'm gonna hold this upright and try to pour a little bit more in there because it's seeping down into the mask. Okay, so hang tight. I'm standing really far back from the thing. I'm just holding it with my hand and I'm pulling tight on the neck upwards towards the sky. So it's creating that cavity, but it's going to fill in stronger there and avoid creasing in the future, hopefully. So that little bead I put down in there puffed out that much. See that? Crazy, huh? Oh my God, people drive me insane. I hate when people are like, are you available November 15th to look at a ring I have? I'm like, sure, I guess so. Well, what time? I don't know. I don't know what time it's gonna be just yet. Next month, in the middle of the next month, just contact me on the 12th and we will figure it out. I'm so high strung lately. Customers driving me out of my mind. Anyway, I touched it. It's still very sticky and tacky. It's not dry yet, so I'm still pulling upwards because I don't want it to collapse and mush it back into a crease. You know, I want it to firm up. It's going to be a good another 10 minutes, I think, you know. Also, yeah, that's sticking out now and obstructing our clear pathway along that tube head over there. We could easily take a little steak knife or a razor and slice that clean and trim it. That's going to be so easy to do because it's foam, you know. Check that out, guys. When I put that little bead in the neck, there was still some material in the Dixie cup, but this is a good example to show you that if you were filling those hands and you're holding them upright and the foam was still pushing out, once it gets to the top, it's really not going to run over the sides. I mean, a little bit there, but this shows you that it just keeps on going up. That's why a lot of people will put a tape barrier around the edge of a mask or around the edge of a hand in case the foam does keep popping up like that. It just rises like a loaf of bread and barely will run over the sides. The tape will just keep your paint clean. You could put like a 2-inch wall of tape if you want around the base of a neck of a mask, and then later you go and take some sharp, like a steak knife, and you could just trim it flat, you know. But that shows you what this stuff does as it rises. All right, guys, let's take a look at this hand here. Hand number 2. Let's do the old inspection. Oh boy. I hope we got it in all 4 fingers. Nice and firm, very nice and firm. Very, very nice and firm. Firm, firm, firm. Firm, firm, firm. We're not squeezing hard, but you could tell. Hell yeah, baby. I did that recently on some, what the hell was it? I was doing a mat. Oh, it was a killer clown, and it had these like pointy ears or something, and part of it didn't get filled. It was like collapsed in a little pocket. The rest had foam. So if that ever happens, I got good footage too where I fixed it. Let's just say, I mean, this thing filled beautifully right up to that wrist again. I might, let's take a look here, hold on. I don't know, it's like right up to where my thumb is. That's pretty damn close. I might flatten that out with a tool in there, just, you know, getting the foam flatter so it butts up against the stump better. But let's just say you did this to yours and this whole bottom of the finger didn't fill. Let's say this is firm, this is all firm, and you're like, oh shit, this is squeezing still, squeezing and hollow. You might think, well, I gotta drill a hole all the way down through that foam and pour material down there. No, no, no. That is a nightmare to even try to do. What I would do if this were mine, and let's say this finger from here down was completely unfilled. Oh, look at this, guys. Look at, see that? There was a little tiny hole there. Holy shit. See that? Must have been a very tiny pinhole. Anyway, back to, okay, yeah, let's say the whole bottom finger was hollow still and the foam is here and we missed this. Get a good section of that foam I was telling you about. Like you go to the craft store and buy a foam cushion or makeup sponges, you know, that kind of foam, that makeup sponge foam. And since this is the, you take, obviously you look at this from the top, you go underneath the piece, underneath the finger here. You can take an X-Acto blade or a very brand new pointy razor blade, the ones that go in a box cutter with a nice point other than the regular blade, and you would make an incision here. Okay, I would do, you can do it along the knuckle here this way. I would prefer a long skinny one, like just one slice. You don't have to slice the whole finger. A slice about this big, okay? And you could take little bits of that foam, keep breaking pieces of that foam out, and taking a little piece of wood, like a little, not a toothpick, but something thicker, like a piece of a popsicle stick that's skinny, and keep shoving that foam up in there, pushing it and pushing it. You stuff it up into the fingertip, you stuff it in there, and you can keep pushing. You could probably push 20 pieces up in there. You'll be surprised how many pieces will fit inside of a little pocket like that until it's nice and firm and foam filled. At least it will be protected from gravity collapsing it over time. It won't be solid like this, but it's going to be pretty damn close, you know. And that little seam, you will never see that. Once you close it back up, you know, you're not really going to see that from the top or whatever way you would look at this thing from. You could try to put a little piece of glue on it, but honestly, one little razor slit in here will close up so nicely you probably would never see it, even if you were displaying these hands upright. You know, that's why you may want to do it with that seam. But somewhere, just put a little incision. You could even go from the side over here so it's not visible from this area. Work from the side and just stuff it all up in there with a tool, and just, you'll get it super tight like that. Cleaned up my workstation, got rid of all the foam filling stuff, just out of the way for now. And we're gonna do a test fitting of the hand, the other hand, and then the head after stuffing the top, fixing that little spot. But I'm going to trim it, and I've got some thick silver duct tape to hopefully strengthen the neck. That stuff works great. when you want to strengthen a mask neck that's floppy, you know. So basically, with the foam in its place, these are going to be 1 inch outer, you know, 1 inch out from where they originally were on the arms, which ain't a horrible thing. Remember, these cuffs, you can adjust the look of that. You can make the hands look like they're longer or shorter by moving this cuff. Trim that excess away. And use this to strengthen the neck inside. See? To try and give it some kind of strength, you know? But you can keep going over it and making it thicker and thicker and thicker, and it may help our little situation here with that collapsible crease. There's not a whole options other than chopping that completely off and foam filling this head solid. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, I stuffed it full of that green webbing. That's how it goes. There we go. That is definitely better, guys. Now we're gonna take a good look at the hands. I'm pulling the sleeves up a little bit, the collars, so the hands don't look like they're super long wrists. I want the collars to hide that. Let's put them against the garage. I don't have his base out here. So there's the base you get from Distortions. It's a metal bracket type deal that they welded some pieces to. And when they welded it, it curved the whole thing. So it's like a rocking chair effect. So I'm gonna have to bend these. It always drove me crazy in my basement. He would rock back and forth. Just gotta bend them a little bit to try and adjust that. It's a nice metal bracket, but that's better. His head is more upright. You know, it's less sagging downward. We're on a little slope here on the driveway, but not that much. That's much better, because it's going to want to go like that. I get all the way against the foam inside. I'm going to put a pencil in there, sharpened on both ends, to push over for stability. So it's foam against foam, like that. And then I will glue it up real good once I get the exact trimming done I want to the exact spot. Glue it so it's going to be up, not down. But his neck, like I said, without completely cutting the mannequin head off underneath and foam filling the entire neck of this guy, I think the only thing we can do, I mean, that improved it a little bit. It improved it by 20% if you're gonna try to measure this somehow, but I think we will need to take stiff cardboard like I got on this table and physically shove it underneath and fill up that gap between the actual mask and the mannequin and give it more stability under there. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do but other than stuff a bunch of thick cardboard under there to lift that up. See that? It's just the way it is. It's just the way it was built, you know. It's a $1,500 little life-size, you know, saucer man. You get, it's not a big dollar Hollywood prop, you know. It is what it is, and it looks amazing. And okay, well, I got him back together. I'm gonna pull his little cuffs up to his wrists, cover his shirt, but he's back together, and absolute improvement with the hands. They look 10 times better, especially that they're just out so nicely, you know, beautiful shape to them, and they're full and they're not sagging. Look how thick that is now. His hands are nice and, you know, they get their full shape to them the way they were intended. You know, they were sculpted like that, but when you don't foam fill them, they just collapse, you know. So now, I mean, that just came out looking great. His head, like I was talking about before, the only way I can see to get that neck perfect, what I did was I filled the top of his head with some filler up in that hole to elevate it off of the shoulders more. I ended up filling a little foam in that crevice, and then I stuffed thick plastic bagging, like thick plastic bag, not grocery stuff, but clear bags I had that were nice and thick up under there to support his head more. You can kind of maybe pull up his head a little higher, but as you saw me say earlier in the video, to really correct that, in my opinion, would be to fill the entire head and neck. You know, there's a big hole cut out inside of here to slip over their mannequin head they have, that weird oblong head. I would be very tempted to chopping that head off. I don't know if there's a steel support in it. That's the only thing I don't know. I didn't squeeze it enough. I don't think there is. I think it's just foam. I think it's just a big foam filled latex head they built underneath here. I would, you know, chop off the head, put a spike in it, and foam fill this mask properly all the way to the bib, so it's got that beautiful shape to it. And once that neck was shaped nicely, then put it back on here. But this is, I mean, this is solid. It's not like this is hollow by any means. I'd almost rip out their foam and redo it. I'd take my hands and just pull out all the foam they did in the mouth area and the neck and refill it myself. It's way better than it was. Like, the head was cocked forward, like he was almost looking at the floor. Freaking squirrels. So, I mean, I'm a lot happier with this piece now. Of course, I sold them to a buddy of mine just because I need the room down there, you know. I got too much going on. In fact, Dwayne might be taking some of his life-size figures back finally and giving me some more space. Once I start putting pinball machines down there, I'm like, having life-size monsters stand everywhere is basically like having people standing in your house. You're like, get out of here, man. You're taking up space. But I hope this was you know, a little helpful for any of you out there wanting to spice up your little saucer man, make it look better. I'm telling you, this looks way better. I'm sure those of you that own the pieces with the hands like this will agree that those floppy hands that Distortions put on them, you know, they're nice, but I feel they should have took that little extra step in at least filling them with some kind of foam, you know. But I don't know, I'm happy with it. So off to Beverly Hills, where he's probably gonna get the paint job of a lifetime. I will see you guys soon. Now that I have this little table set up out here, I'm gonna be foam filling some masks tomorrow. I'm gonna get this video going tonight. I'll be filling masks tomorrow. So foam filling videos are coming, as well as a video putting a spotlight on a young man out there that hates my guts. I'll see you guys soon.